Ben, thank you so much for that awesome introduction. Hello, NICE K12 Cybersecurity Education Conference. I'm Eli Cochran, so I'm really excited to be here to talk to you all. Sadly, I couldn't be joining you all in person. I teach at a K12, and as a lot of you may know from the K12 industry, substitutes are really hard to find right now. So I have to stay back here in Ohio in the classroom with my students. But Ben gave me this awesome opportunity to give you this video and just kind of share a little bit about the DACC story. So I am in my 4th year teaching our new cybersecurity program at the Delaware Area Career Center, and it's actually in Delaware, Ohio. So let's dive into it. So this is our amazing and beautiful building that I teach at. We are located, like I said, there in Delaware, Ohio. We are about 30 minutes north of Columbus. We have our main campus. We used to have multiple campuses, and about 4 or 5 years ago, we combined into one DACC. So this is my amazing and beautiful cybersecurity lab. This is what it looks like when it's new and clean. We get computers out and technology all over the place. So some days it looks like this. Some days it's got computers all over those center tables, but this is what our lab looks like. And these are some of the cool and amazing projects that my students get into. We do a lot with Raspberry Pis and some networking stuff in our cybersecurity program. We deal with servers. We have a whole server rack inside of a locked closet. So it's a locked security closet that students manage and own all of that. And then we run virtual machines with Proxmox so students can do hacking in our classroom even. This is some more of our projects that we've done. If you can kind of see a trend here, I like to do projects. It's a great way for students to learn. We've got some servers there with even 10 gigabit fiber. So our students are getting hands-on with the latest technology. So when you hear about cybersecurity in a K-12 setting, everybody instantly gets scared. We've got to have these rules. We've got to lock things down. And yes, we do, to keep the students safe. We have to have our procedures and our policies, so I have my lab rules, that I've come up with. And even students have helped drive this over the last 4 years. So this is what our kind of classroom rules look like, so to say. And then when we got into the MITRE challenge, this actually kind of stemmed from that. We have software that we need to install that's kind of outside of our normal curriculum. So we actually created a software authorization form for students to fill out to get different pieces of software on their computers, and we vet it and all that. And then Mr. Cochran downloads it. So why am I here? Why am I talking to you all? And it's because of my students. That is why I am here talking to you all, is because of their hard work, dedication, and passion for cybersecurity is why I'm their instructor is here to talk to you all. So this is 2 of my graduating classes. My first class, sadly, I don't have a picture with them because COVID hit right when they graduated. So this is my last 2 years of students, my first and 4 cohorts. But do you see an issue with any of these pictures? There's not enough female representation in the cybersecurity and even in the industry, let alone in the education field. So there's actually a report that's put out that only 24% of women make up the workforce. And when it comes to cybersecurity, now that's up from 11%, but it's still something low, and it's something we're actually working on. And that's a whole nother talk for another day. But some of the stuff our school does is we did women in STEM and really push. These were some of my students that graduated last year. And then the ones in the bottom right are actually my current seniors. This is some of my students winning awards last year. So we do Business Professionals of America, or BPA. One of my students came in first place in website design team event. And then we had a first place in cybersecurity last year for the state of Ohio. And then one of my students got second place in the nation for Linux operating system. So some cool stuff that the students are doing. I love this picture. So this is like our scoreboard leaderboard in the back, and that's their hacker name on there. And this is where students get to put stickers of their certifications that they earn. And then it quickly gets filled up. And then I have some students that are like overachievers, and they get that extra piece of paper to get more stickers. So I actually just looked it up today, and in the last 4 years of the program, we have broke the 400 number. We are at 402 certifications and certificates. And the certifications that we focus on for our juniors is the CompTIA A+ certification. And then we focus on the CompTIA Security Plus certification for our program. And then we also do an ethical hacker courseware from Test Out. So how do I motivate my students? That's kind of the biggest thing, is when we think about like, what is a motivation for you? We got to think about for students, it's the same thing. We've got intrinsic and extrinsic motivations. So you at your job, what's your maybe an extrinsic motivator for you, right? It's money, right? Well, students, it's grades. So when we think about learning and how that comes out of it, really, we want them to learn intrinsically. We don't want an extrinsic motivation. We want them to be passionate. We want them to find enjoyment out of it and curiosity and just learning, right? So one way that I do that in my classroom is I do a lot with capture the flags, hacking CTFs, gamifying their learning is the way that I've found that works really well with my students, taking those lab stuff that we're learning, right? The textbook boring stuff, and giving them a fun outlet, a way for them to flex their digital muscle. This is a really cool website, hackertest.net. Now, it's not really hacking, but I say, parents, it's okay. It's legal for your students to do this. It's a really cool just website you can go on and kind of puzzles and problem solve. These are just some of the CTFs that we do in the cybersecurity program at DACC. We do a lot with Cyber Patriot and all these others, National Cyber League. We even can host our own capture the flags using our servers that I showed you earlier. And this is actually one of the capture the flags that I came up with using forensic photos. And this was actually a student from the digital design program. I actually took these forensic images and I said, hey, could I give you some like USB rubber duckies and a Wi-Fi pineapple, and you could like sneak that into your forensic photography, and I could use it as a part of my storyline. And I got like these evidence bags off of Amazon. The students love it. It's a lot of fun. So, but one of the big capture the flags that we do is the MITRE embedded capture the flag that happens in the winter to springtime. My students, it was funny when I first got started, one of my students came to me and said, hey, Mr. Cochran, can we do this? And I said, well, we're a high school program and this is a collegiate capture the flag. I don't know if they'll even let us in, but I'll reach out to them and see. And my students have actually done extremely well for the last, we've been doing it for the last 3 years. We'll be coming up on our 4th year here. It's a fun challenge for them, and it's a way for them to learn some really in-depth embedded hardware, but it's a fun way to do it. So this is one of the things that kind of stemmed out of our MITRE stuff. Students actually have to fill out this prerequisite form, and it's just research, going and finding answers to see, different things like that, to show that you're really interested in joining the team. So our first year, this was the team for the first year. These were 2 of my students. The team was actually 3 students, but that one student just chose not to be in the photo. This was actually put in our local newspaper. Out of, I think, like 18 colleges, my high school students came in 10th place that first year. Amazing, right? Like right in the middle of the pack for high school students and a collegiate capture the flag. So the next year we came back, we ultimately came in 3rd place. The students, their hard work, there was now 4 team members that year. And they ultimately came in 3rd place out of like 28 colleges and universities, and still the only high school team competing. And then last year, we, out of 32 schools, we were the only active high school team again. Hopefully we might see some more high school teams this year. We'd love to see that. But we, only 9 teams even made it into the attack phase. And we were one of those 9 teams. Ultimately, we came in 8th place out of 32 colleges and teams. So it was really cool. I was really proud of my students. They did an amazing job, and they run this. This is all their doings. I just kind of help in the background, making sure they have what they need. We have a parent permission form that they have to, make sure parents are on board with. But like I said, students are doing this. They are managing everything. This is a very zoomed out view of their Trello that they run. And this is how they keep track of everything that they have to do. And they run through it. And this is just some of the outlines of how we kind of do this. So we have our Trello. that integrates even with Slack as well. One of my students figured out an API that would allow them to integrate those. But we start with like an onboarding tab, you know, for students that, because I do juniors and seniors. So my seniors are teaching my juniors. So there's like to-dos for them to do. And like, you know, we try to provide resources for students. Maybe they don't know Python, or maybe they don't know C++ and that kind of stuff. Well, it's a way for students to go and find those answers and to learn on their own, just because they're curious about it. You know, we've got, hey guys, this is due in 4 days. Please go fill this out. And we can assign that to different people and different things. And then their favorite column, the done column, but everything's color coded of different priority levels and that kind of stuff. And again, this is all student managed. This is all them driving this. And then that student that figured out that API was when something became due or overdue in Trello, it would alert them in Slack to say, hey, this needs to be fixed. So how we manage our team, or how the students manage the team, is we have roles that students do. So first and foremost, we have a senior team lead, and then we also have a junior team lead, because we have 2 different groups of students. Ideally, our junior team lead then becomes our senior team lead the following year. So we're kind of creating that learning cultivation from our seniors to juniors, and there's some handover and crossover collaboration as well. So it's really cool to see that kind of coming to full fruition now that we're into our 3rd year, going on to our 4th year. So we have our senior team lead and our junior team lead. And then we have our senior developer and then our junior developers. And then that works out really well, because again, that teaching and that training, right? You know, if you know a topic, it really helps to be able to teach that to somebody else. So it helps develop their soft skills even. That's why I love the MITRE eCTF, because of not only the stuff that they're learning in the classroom, but it's also that collaboration, right? And working together as a team. So we have our Trello manager. Now this role is probably going to change this year. That kind of morphed into more of a project manager role. So we're going to kind of modify that this year. And then the crypto people that liked cryptography, and then our scribes. So every year I do an engineering notebook that they have to keep notes in. And that belongs to the lab. They're welcome to take pictures and you know, even borrow it or whatever, but it ultimately belongs to the lab. And it's a really cool engineering notebook. Sadly, I'm not there and I'd share it with you all, but it's a really awesome resource for them. And it actually helps them when it comes to the end of the MITRE, when they have to create their like presentation video. They can revert back to that and see what they were working on in the very beginning. The photographer role, I kind of took that role, just trying to document it a little bit. Sadly, I can't be involved in the MITRE as much as I would love to advise and help them, because I'm teaching class at that time. So this is very much kind of self-directed, right? The senior and junior team leads, they're the ones scheduling the meetings, making sure everybody's where they need to be and doing what they need to be doing. So it really develops those leadership skills for those students as well. And then at the very end, we have a video production team. So they create the video that we present at the awards ceremony. And this has been a fun one. I even have students that aren't doing the hacking stuff or like into that kind of CTF stuff, that want to join the team just for the audio and video production. So I love this slide. This is my students working out in the hallway on one of our collaboration spaces. And the 2 students on the right were actually seniors. They graduated last year, and that was actually our team. The student sitting close to the TV was our senior developer, and then the student sitting closer to the screen on the couch there on the right, she was our senior team lead, and then the rest are all the juniors. The one in the blue closest to us was our junior team lead. So a really cool picture. I also blacked out the screen because this was actually a social media post and we didn't want any other teams to get some OSINT on it. But I really love this picture because it shows that collaboration and that teaching and just the intrinsic motivation for this, right? Like they're having fun with this. It's not just a grade. And actually, I don't grade them for this. This is something they do because they want to do it and they're having fun with it. So with that, Ben, thank you so much. Nice conference. Thank you guys for having me and allowing me to share a little bit about the DACC cybersecurity students. We'll see y'all.